Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is action step 1, preparing for my $1 million weekend. If you're new here, my name's Ben and I'm going to start a business. And my latest step was to read a book called $1 Million Weekend by Noah Kagan. He has effectively laid out an action plan for how to start a business, and he does this through challenges. This week I completed challenges 1 through 3, and that's what I'm going to describe for you in this video. So let's jump into it. So challenge number 1 felt very cheesy, and I think with this sort of thing there's always an inclination to not bother when it feels pointless or arbitrary or even uncomfortable. But at the moment, what I'm really trying to do as someone who's struggled to start a business, to sort of take that first step, is just listen to someone who's done it before, right? So this guy has started multiple very successful businesses, and so he probably has a good idea of what he's doing, and so I'm just going to take his recommendation and do the first step, do all the steps. And so yeah, cheesy challenge number 1 was simply to make this kind of mantra, and it went something like this. It was like, I, Ben, commit to following the steps in this book in order to achieve my dream outcome. My dream outcome after reading this book is XYZ, and then you lay out your dream outcome. And I guess it feels kind of cringe and it feels kind of pointless, but I don't know, I'm trying to be optimistic with starting a business, and so it actually felt quite fun. And I think there is some value in getting in that mindset. Now, challenge number 2 was quite interesting. It was to reach out to a friend and to say, please send me £1 right now, and you can give whatever reason you want for this. But I suggest following the script in the book, which goes something like, hi, I know you know me quite well, you know I want to start a business, please send me £1 right now, and in return you'll have effectively like a front row seat to the process of starting a business. So I get to follow along your process. And I think it's really interesting because it almost feels like making your first pound, which is always the hardest bit when starting a business, so I've heard, is making that very first bit of money. And so what you are effectively doing is saying, in return for me providing you this value of showing you how it's done, you give me a little bit of money, and it almost feels like earning your first pound. So I think it's quite an interesting challenge in that way. And challenge number 3 was to begin the process of sort of thinking up business ideas. And it's kind of similar to number 2 in that you need to reach out to a friend, and that also helps you sort of overcome some anxiety of like social anxiety of like, what will they think? But you reach out to someone that you know quite well and you say, hey, you know me well, what kind of business do you think I'd be good at? And that just sort of helps you to narrow down and maybe frame your area that you might want to work in. And so for me, I know I already had an idea, but the overwhelming theme that came back, having asked a friend, was sports / fitness / health. I was going to say wealth. That would be cool too, but health. And that sort of resonates with me because it's an area I'm really interested in. I really like fitness, and so working in that industry, which I also think is a growing industry, seems to really appeal to me. And this will help inform a lot of the next challenges, which are to do with actual idea generation. And so those were the steps that I took this week. And next week I'm going to continue with those challenges. So I'll do challenges 3 through 6, and hopefully by the time I get to challenge 12, which is to actually start asking people for money for my business ideas, I'll be in a really good place. So stick around till then. I will see you there.